Welcome to the Oakleaf Sports Report. I'm your host, Sean Dougherty, and as always, it is my pleasure to bring to you everything you need to know in the world of Bear Cub athletics. And boy, oh boy, do we have a show planned for you. We'll be going over everything that happened in the past week, as well as what to expect in the week ahead. And today we have something very, very special for the fans of the Oakleaf Sports Report. Bear Cub Nation, get ready. Head coach of your SRJC women's soccer team, Tracy Hamm, is here. And we'll be talking with her a little later in the show, and we are very excited to welcome her on. Today, we are going to start the show with your Bear Cub volleyball team, who has been dominating the competition as of late. And last week, played in back-to-back road games, starting on Wednesday in Rockland, where the Bear Cubs took on Sierra and rolled through to a victory in 3 sets by the scores of 25-23, 25-15, then 25-20. Then on Thursday, the team traveled to Modesto to take on Modesto and swept through that game in 3 sets, winning by the scores of 25-8, 25-20, and finally 25-10. Head coach Kelly Wood has led her team to 4th in Northern California rankings and 8th in the state. Up next for the Bear Cubs is a huge conference matchup against American River, who are ranked 3rd in Northern California and 5th in the state. That game is here at the JC Wednesday the 17th at 6:30 p.m. Hey football fans, what is going on with the Bear Cub football team? After winning their first 2 games of the season, the Bear Cubs have dropped 3 in a row heading into their game against Butte City College this past Saturday. It was a bad day to be a Bear Cub quarterback. The combination of Christian McIlvaine, who started the game, and Mike Pearson, who started the second half after McIlvaine was yanked, were sacked a combined 13 times in the game and accounted for negative 57 yards rushing. The lone bright spot for the Bear Cubs was an 89-yard drive that was engineered by the offense that ended on a 3-yard touchdown pass from Pearson to wide receiver Jordan Bergstrom. It was the only score for the Bear Cubs, and they missed the extra point. Pearson finished the day 18 for 31 for 188 yards, had the 1 touchdown, and did throw an interception. The offense finished with 43 yards rushing, despite the fact that running back Joe Teo finished with 101 yards rushing on the day. Butte improves to a perfect 6-0, while the Bear Cubs drop to 2-4. Up next for the Bear Cubs is the Clo Classic against the Foothill Owls. Here at the JC, the game starts at 7 p.m., but come out for a great carnival and a whole lot of other family fun starting at 5 p.m. With only 2 conference games left on the schedule for the Bear Cubs women's water polo team, they are trying their best to find a way to make it to the playoffs. And last week, the Bear Cubs hosted Sac City and rolled to a 16-1 victory. And then over the weekend, the Bear Cubs played in the crossover tournament in Los Altos. They finished the day 1-3 and had losses to Ohlone 11-6, then beat Cabrillo 7-5, then finished with losses to Foothill 11-5 and Merced 6-5. This week, the Bear Cubs get ready for a very important doubleheader against Delta here at the JC Wednesday at 3:30. The Bear Cubs hold a 3-2 conference record, yet are a mere 5-13 overall. The men's water polo team competed in the Cuesta tournament over the weekend. I do want to mention that they won 1 game against Citrus by the score of 13-6. This week, like their counterparts, will be facing off against Delta in a doubleheader here at the junior college Wednesday at 5 p.m. The wrestling team had their first conference match against Modesto in Modesto and came out victorious 32-17. Then they finished 10th in the Modesto tournament over the weekend. Up next, the Bear Cubs host the Northern California Duels here at Hale Pavilion this Saturday at 10 a.m. The Bear Cubs are 1-0 in conference dual meets and 4-0 overall. This will be a big day for both the wrestling program and the junior college, so come out for some great wrestling action. The men's soccer team has been on an absolute tear on the field this year, and last week the Bear Cubs picked up 2 more wins. The first coming against Contra Costa in a 3-0 shutout. Sergio Gutierrez scored 2 goals in the game. Then on Friday, the Battle of the 101 took place where the Bear Cubs traveled to Kentfield to take on College of Marin and came home victorious 2-0. Marco Perez and Carlos Picana scored the game's only goals. The Bear Cubs have just 6 more games left, and this week have 2 non-conference games on their schedule. The first is against Napa on Tuesday, and then on Friday, the team travels to Livermore to take on Las Positas. The Bear Cubs are 10-2-1 overall this season and are undefeated in conference play with a 4-0 record. The women's soccer team has also been playing exceptional ball this season. Last Tuesday, the Bear Cubs hosted Diablo Valley and won 4-2, getting goals from 4 separate players: Sal Jabre, Shanice Acevedo, Holly DePina, and Jill Anderson. One note from the game: it was the first time this season that the Bear Cubs have won a game in which the result was not a shutout. That is quite a stretch at this level of play. Then on Friday, the team faced off against Consumnes River here at the JZ, and that game resulted in a 0-0 tie. Up next, the Bear Cubs will travel to Modesto to take on Modesto this Friday. And then there's only 7 games left in the season before the first round of the NorCal playoffs. Head coach Tracy Hamm so far has done a great job in her debut season as the head coach of your Bear Cubs, leading the team to an 8-2-1 overall record and are 5-1-1 in the Big 8 Conference. And here to talk about this team and her experiences as head coach, Miss Tracy Hamm. Thank you so much for joining me and coming on the show and taking some time out of your schedule. I'll just get right into it. What did you know about the junior college before you came here in this area?
Well, to be honest, I knew very little about the area itself. I'd been up here a few times to play in my own games at Santa Rosa High School, actually. I played in a couple games with summer league teams up here. Had been to a few tournaments as a player, but not ever as a coach. And I knew that it was a beautiful area, but in terms of the junior college, before my interview back in February or March for the position, I researched a lot about the school and just really found out that it's an incredible junior college and it's ranked nationally, not just the athletic department, but the school itself is incredible. And, it just seems that the staff and the faculty here really don't ever leave, and there must be a reason why, and that was really exciting for me.
If you look at our school's history, I think we've only had 4 or 5 presidents in the entire 100+ years of the college. Right. So what was your ultimate deciding factor on coming to coach at the junior college?
I think the chance to have my own program was especially exciting, and also getting to use my master's degree. Really, a master's degree isn't, at a Division I or Division II level, you don't necessarily need it, but to actually be a full-time faculty member here, you need it. And I really like teaching. I've always liked that. And I think that this level, especially of play, I really like this age group of women, and I also just kind of really enjoyed that it's more of a transition stage, and I think that I've done a lot of different things in my life that gone a lot of different places and worked with a lot of different demographic of players, where I think that my experience would be helpful in helping them transition out of this 2-year school to whatever future it is they decide, whether it be working or playing or going to school or whatever. So,
well, you have an amazing resume. As you said, your master's from Boston University, your bachelor's from Cal Berkeley in mass communications. You were an assistant coach at Berkeley and took the team during your tenure to the second round in the NCAA, being ranked 23rd overall. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your time at Heritage Soccer Club and then at College Park High School.
Sure.
Down in Pleasant Hill. Are you from that area, and is that how you originally got into the coaching realm?
Yeah, I actually grew up in La Miranda, so in Moraga, where St. Mary's College is. And when I was at Cal playing, you know, I was trying to find like a summer job, and I always did camps. And I kind of wanted, I'm not a great babysitter, and so I don't really like the camp route so much unless it's like a serious camp, but I wanted to do something that actually developed players as opposed to just, you know, taking lunch breaks and making sure, you know, everyone's okay or whatever at camp. But so I actually was contacted by the director of coaching at Heritage Soccer Club, and it was a newly formed club, and it was very small. It was, I think, like 6 teams to start with. And I started training, I was never a coach until after college, but I was just their trainer from March until August when training camp started. And it was a great way for Cal especially to get young players to come out to our games because they all knew me. And coaching, you know, initially I thought it would be something really easy because, you know, I'm good at soccer, like I can teach people to do this. And it was really quite difficult even. And it was just a great learning experience for me, and I kind of just stuck with that area because they really gave me my first opportunity to coach, and many of the coaches in the club were dads that had never played before, and so they were like, come out, please keep coming, you know. So they're like, you can demo stuff that we can't demo, and so that was my favorite part of it for sure. So yeah, I just felt really loyal to it. I had, you know, other offers from different clubs, but you know, they gave me my first shot at it, and I did it for 7 years and ended up being, the technical director after like 3 years there. So that was awkward a little bit.
Yeah.
Firing middle-aged men that had been there like 10 years. I'm 23, and I'm like, you have to leave. But yeah.
That's quite a responsibility at such a young age. And then coming over here, you've come to a program that in the last 13 years has been conference champion 10 of those years. She's made it to the state Final Four 9 times, including the last 5 seasons in a row, and last year's state champ. Were you nervous to take over this program that has such high expectations? Did you, from your experiences at Heritage, did you use that time to kind of help prepare you for this as well, as far as, you know, taking over such a intense program?
You know, I wasn't nervous. I think it was more, I was excited, and it was more, I think when you're coming off, you know, a great season, like winning state doesn't get better than that. It's like winning nationals. That the players are really more faced with, you know, adversity of repeating, and there's different challenges associated with that. And I think that when I took the program, that was really my focus, was to make sure that the players, you know, regardless of having a new coach, that, you know, they could reset their expectations and level of standards, because it's a different team, it's a different environment, it's a different coach. And I think that, you know, if you go into a season and try to emulate exactly like it was the year before, it's never going to be the same. And you have to change your level, not less like expectations, but just, you know, the standard or quality of play, or, you know, different leadership, because those same leaders aren't here. And you can't, it's hard to compare 2 seasons or 5 seasons, but I think that, especially at this level, you don't really know what you're getting until, you know, we've had 3 or 4 new players join, you know, 4 weeks already into training camp, and it's kind of like you take it as it goes and adjust. But I think absolutely, like your prior coaching experience, applying it to now, just learning to adjust and, you know, make sure that there's a big core of, you know, the team that believes in what you're doing and, you know, wants to win and has that mentality. But I think the most important thing for me coming in was really to make it their program. It's not about me or the coaching. It's their team. It's their program. I'm here to help. So.
Okay. So, how have you been able to come in, and what kind of impact have you made on the players so far? as you know, and how is that? You know, I'm sure that faces its own challenge going in and meeting new players. But how have you been able to make bonds with certain players on the team, and talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. I think that the biggest impact I've had for the team would probably be my intensity and something that you know, push them to be the best at whatever they do on or off the field. And you know, there's times where you get complacent and you know, you get comfortable, and it's those times that I think are really crucial teaching experiences, because you know, when that happens, it's like, no, you still have to be better. So you know, I've just kind of created this environment where if you're not winning every single shuttle or every 120, like you're doing something wrong, because you are capable of winning. And if you're not trying to, then that's a problem, because every single time you get better. And I tell them, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. So are you going to be like the best at brushing your teeth every morning? Like, sure, because you're going to carry that over onto the field or into your workplace or with your family. You're going to be the best friend. And I think there's a lot of lessons that you can teach on the field that help translate. And I think that I've tried to definitely implement that into our practices for sure.
You kind of got thrown into the fire here with the scheduling. Your second or third game of this season was against San Francisco City College, in which was a tough loss. You guys lost 1-0.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to get your perspective of what it was like to immediately have to go up against one of the perennial powerhouses of the Big Eight.
Sure. You know, unfortunately, we did have that game before that we were supposed to happen, like in
That was
Solano.
canceled, right?
And that killed us, and I knew that we needed that game so bad before, and you know, we didn't get it. And I think, you know, the girls did what they could against San Francisco, and honestly, they had a couple good chances, so did we. And you know, we need those games for power ranking, and we need to face the best competitions out there. And I'd rather have them, you know, a loss to them in the first week than in the last week.
Right.
You know,
which you guys don't face San Francisco again
until
until
it
postseason.
matters. Right. So hopefully, you know, what's really funny is the player that scored the goal on us from San Francisco, I've coached for 7 years before getting here. And I was like, oh, she's from Pleasant Hill.
Okay.
So she played for her heritage.
So a little kind of student teaching the teacher
There
a
you
little
go.
bit.
Yeah.
What have you learned from your players this season?
Oh man, I feel like I learn something every day, to be honest. And I think the biggest thing would probably be patience. I didn't really have like expectations for, you know, talent level by any means, but I think that there's quite a few girls that came into the program that haven't ever had any formal training. Really, they played on rec teams or didn't play on really any teams besides indoor, and really not tested my patience in a bad way, but really reevaluating what my my plan was, and I guess my strategy, because at different levels, your strategy is going to be different, and we've really had to focus a lot on developing our technical game, which in the college level, you still want to develop players, but it's more strategy, tactical level than anything. And we've kind of had to rewind a bit, because that's our biggest breakdown, is our technical ability. They see things that they want to do, and they have these great ideas. It's just that technique isn't quite there. So yeah, that's probably like the biggest thing. Yeah.
What player currently would you say right now is your team's MVP?
Oh, that's tough, actually.
And you have to pick one.
Okay.
You can't get off with saying the whole team. The general coach's answer.
I'm going to say our goalkeeper, Ashley Lewis. It's pretty incredible to, you know, before DVC to give up, you know, 2 goals in like 9 games or whatever it was. She's a special player, and I think that she comes up really, really big, and she's one of the best athletes I've seen for sure. So she's I'd say, you know, she's a wall back there, and that honestly for the women's game to have a quality goalkeeper makes a massive difference.
I have talked so many times on this show about the streak of games that you guys have won. where you guys did not allow a goal, and that is so impressive. I am always checking the scores around the league, and there's always people scoring.
Yep.
And to have 8 games, I believe, in a row with not at home or victoria games that you guys have won without giving up a goal until this week was spectacular. What are your expectations for the remainder of this season? Now that you're in the mix, you know the team that you have, you know the players, and you know what they're made of. Where do you see this team going?
You know, I think that we're absolutely capable of winning every game, and you know, from here on out. And I think that, you know, the breakdowns that we've had in our losses or our ties were all fixable things. And you know, it really depends on what the girls want, and I think that they absolutely want another state championship, and I think that they can get it, and I think they deserve it. I think they work really hard. But I think absolutely defensively we're doing such a great job, and they're so organized back there, and it's a lot with I call them the back 5, you know, our 4 backs and our keeper. You know, they're doing a great job, and we just need to, our forwards really just need to keep rewarding them with goals.
Yeah.
Because they're fighting, they're doing great.
Consistency seems to be a big part of this team's success. How as the head coach, what are you doing to get the girls prepared mentally and physically before every game to where they're putting out such a tremendous effort?
I mean, along with what you said, I think that our practices are consistently the same. You know, we change different things here and there, but I think as an athlete, you know, having my degree in sports psychology, I think routine is really important to preparation and feeling prepared for things. And I think for us, especially being more fit than other teams has really resulted in us not giving up goals, because a lot of our goals are coming late in the game where we're breaking teams down because we're fitter than they are. And that's a huge level of confidence for us that we know the last 10 minutes of a half we can really go at them. But really just I think that they're comfortable with, they know what my responses to things are going to be. They know how each other react now with comments, with criticism, you know, with coaching points. So they know coming into practice or coming to a game what to expect, and that's a really great feeling as a player, because it's very hard to step on the field and not know what your role is or not know what's expected of you, and kind of just going out there. And so I've really tried to create this, you know, an environment where they absolutely are 100% know what's expected of them and what they need to do. So,
what coaches do you look to for either inspiration or technique or game plans? What coaches do you want to kind of emulate?
I would say, I mean, John Wooden, I've always just thought he was incredible just from the mental aspect of it, because realistically at the end of the day you are teaching your team about what it means to be a good person, and you're translating that to off the field. And I think that he did an incredible job, you know, teaching accountability. And for me, on and off the field, being accountable for your actions is one of the most important things, and showing up in time, and, you know, treating people with respect and treating yourself with respect, and those things, especially, I think the mental part of the game is, like, I would say the most important thing. And I think that John Wooden did an incredible job with that aspect. In terms of strategy, you know, and tactics, I wouldn't say that there's a specific coach that I would look up to, because there's so many different formations with soccer, and you kind of have to curtail it to, you know, your personnel. So I definitely think that we focus a lot on defense, obviously, and my college coach, Kevin Boyd, who's now the coach at ASU, all we did was defend. I mean, we were an incredible defensive team, and can't get scored on, you can't lose. Well, and so we do a lot of defending.
You know, our athletic director is a big fan of Coach Wooden.
Oh,
Jim Forcombe is. If you ever get a chance to go into his office, you will see, and hopefully for a good reason.
Yeah, there you go.
You will see Coach Wooden is all over his office.
Yeah.
What team tested you guys the most this season? And if you have to face them again, how are you going to prepare any different, or are you guys going to go at that team the same way?
I mean, obviously our loss to Sierra, that was a tough game. I don't necessarily think we played our best at all. I wouldn't really know if it was a test, and they play in a grass field. It's much different than ours, and I think the surface of the field makes a big difference. Honestly, though, American River and DVC, actually, they both tried to play and keep possession. I think a lot of the other teams was, kind of hit it and run type. There wasn't really like a strategy, but both those teams moved the ball around pretty well, and it was nice for us because we like to play like that. So we actually got to play a game, and it was fun to be a part of and fun to watch. So I think that those two teams, but honestly, in our conference, most everybody gave us a game. It wasn't, of course there was some blowouts. We had some really good goals, and things went well for us on those days. But there isn't really anybody that we could walk over, and it was, which is great because that's something that I absolutely bring your A game every single day, and don't expect anything less than your best. And they walked out most of the time with that attitude, and the days then we didn't do well, they didn't have that, and they just, I got it. And it's like, no, you don't have it. You have to come every single day ready to win. But yeah, I mean, AR and DVC did pretty well. Sierra, yeah, they're all good teams. I don't know. Yeah.
What has been the biggest surprise for you, both on the field and off of it so far this season?
Oh, I would say for on the field, I didn't really know what the level of talent was going to be, and I think for me my biggest surprise really was seeing that there are some like really amazing players here that are playing at this level that totally have the potential, if they want it, to play at the next level. I think that a lot of it, unfortunately, and my biggest surprise, I would say, for being off the field is carrying that same passion that they have on the soccer field into the classroom. Again, going back to this concept of how you do anything is how you do everything, and you have to translate that to the classroom. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good you are in the field, because you need your degree or whatever it is that you want to do, and you need to pass your classes, and you need to do these things. And I haven't, coming from Cal, where everyone wants to get a 4.0 and it's this crazy academic school, coming here, and most of the girls do great for sure, but making sure that that's the school part is a absolute priority. We're still not seeing eye to eye on that, but that's the biggest challenge probably off the field, is making sure they're in their classes and they're going and they're putting an effort to that too.
Okay, final question. And
sure.
Once again, I'm not going to let you off without an answer.
Okay.
You're going to bring home another state championship to the JC this year.
I think so. We should.
There we go.
100%. Let's do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tracy, thank you so much for taking time out of your
No
schedule
problem.
again, and hopefully we'll be able to get you back on the show and
I'd love to come back.
Talk about maybe your first state championship here at the JC.
That's right.
All right.
Go
Thank
Bear
you
Cubs.
again.
Thank you.
All right. That's all for this episode of the Oakleaf Sports Report. Thank you for joining me, Sean Dougherty. And be sure to check out the Bear Cub Beat with myself every Wednesday on 96.7 Bob FM, and then again on Y100.9. We want to say thank you very much to Coach Tracy Hamm for coming out and joining us today. Remember, you can only win the games in which you play, so make sure you play the game. Go Bear Cubs.